Archangel Michael and Jesus says, "You will lose both of us if you skip. You have only 15 seconds." God says, "Chosen one, do not skip no matter what, please, I beg you. Open it quickly. My beloved child, stop for 15 seconds and listen carefully, not because you will lose Jesus or Archangel Michael if you scroll away, but because this moment can remind you of something your heart may desperately need right now. Imagine hearing those words at the exact moment you were about to move on. Do not skip. Your first reaction might be curiosity, but underneath it there may be something deeper, a tired heart looking for reassurance, direction, and one reason to keep believing that tomorrow can be different. Don't skip this story, because the 15-second countdown is only the beginning. In this fictional spiritual narration, Jesus represents unconditional love, while Archangel Michael represents courage and strength. Together, their message is simple. You are not abandoned because you are struggling, and you do not have to earn divine love by watching one video. Stay till the end, because the next words may reveal why you encountered this message at a moment when your mind needed a pause. The countdown begins, 15, 14, 13, but something unexpected happens. Instead of asking you to panic, the voice becomes calm. Chosen one, breathe. 12, 11, and suddenly the urgency changes meaning. Maybe you have been carrying a decision you cannot make. Maybe you have been waiting for an answer that never seems to arrive. Maybe you have smiled around people while quietly wondering whether your best days are already behind you. Don't skip, because this is where the message turns toward you. Jesus does not need fear to keep you listening. Archangel Michael does not need threats to make you strong. The real revelation is that your worth does not disappear because you scroll away from a video. Your faith is not measured by 15 seconds. Your relationship with God is not controlled by an algorithm. Something huge is waiting for you in this message, and it begins with the realization that perhaps you were never being asked to prove your faith, you were being invited to remember it. And now the countdown reaches the final seconds, 10, 9, 8. But instead of something being taken away, something begins to return, your attention, your peace, and your courage. Stay till the end, because the next part will reveal why this 15-second message feels so urgent and what may be hiding underneath the words, "Chosen one, do not skip." The surprise is not that Jesus and Archangel Michael will disappear if you leave. The surprise is that you may have been allowing fear, doubt, and exhaustion to make you forget how deeply you value hope. Don't skip now. Something huge is waiting ahead, because when the countdown reaches 0, the message will not ask you to prove anything. It will ask you one question that could change the way you look at this entire season of your life. What if the thing you have been waiting for is not a sign that everything will instantly change, but the strength to finally take your next step? My beloved child, the countdown has ended, but the real message is only beginning. You were told that you had 15 seconds, and perhaps you expected something dramatic to happen when those seconds disappeared. But nothing was taken from you. Jesus did not leave. Archangel Michael did not turn away. And that is the first revelation: divine love is not a timer. Your faith is not a test where one missed click makes you unworthy. Stay till the end, because this changes the entire meaning of the message. The urgency was never meant to make you afraid. It was meant to make you pause. Maybe you have been rushing through your days without listening to what your own heart has been trying to tell you. Maybe you have been asking for clarity while constantly filling every quiet moment with noise. Don't skip, because sometimes the answer begins when you finally become still enough to hear what matters. Now imagine Jesus saying, "You do not have to earn my love." Let those words settle for a moment. You do not have to be perfect before you pray. You do not have to understand everything before you trust. You do not have to have every answer before you take another step. And imagine Archangel Michael standing as a symbol of courage, reminding you that strength is not about pretending everything is easy. Strength is choosing to continue even when you cannot see the entire road ahead. Something huge is waiting in this realization. Perhaps the reason this message feels so personal is because you have been waiting for permission to stop carrying everything alone. You have been trying to solve tomorrow while still exhausted from yesterday. You have been asking, when will my life finally change? But maybe the first change begins inside the way you face today. And here is the part you were not expecting. The words, "You will lose both of us if you skip," were never meant to suggest that heaven abandons you because you closed a video. They are the dramatic doorway into a much deeper reminder: you do not want to lose sight of love and courage in your own life. Don't skip now, because the next part goes deeper into the one area where you may have quietly surrendered hope. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting ahead, and it may involve a situation you have been praying about again and again. Perhaps you thought nothing was moving. Perhaps you believed the silence meant rejection. But what if silence is not the same as absence? What if this season is teaching you patience, discernment, and strength before you step into whatever comes next? Keep listening, because the next revelation begins with the one question you may have been too tired to ask: what if you are closer to a new chapter than your current circumstances are allowing you to believe? My beloved child, there is something you may have been interpreting as an ending when it could simply be a pause. Think about the situation you have been carrying quietly, the unanswered prayer, the relationship that feels uncertain, the opportunity that did not happen, or the dream that seems to be taking far longer than you expected. Maybe you have asked God, why is nothing changing? But stay till the end, because the answer may begin with a truth you have not considered. A delay does not automatically mean denial. In this fictional spiritual narration, Jesus represents love and reassurance, while Archangel Michael represents courage when the road ahead is unclear. Don't skip, because the 15-second countdown was only designed to get your attention. What matters now is what you do with that attention. Something huge is waiting for you. Not a guaranteed miracle at a specific time, but a perspective that could help you stop measuring your entire future by what you can see today. Now imagine a door standing in front of you. You have been knocking, waiting, and wondering why it has not opened. You may have started believing that perhaps you were forgotten. But what if the closed door is not proof that you are rejected? What if it simply means you do not yet have enough information to know which direction is right? This is where faith becomes different from certainty. Faith does not require you to know every detail. It asks you to keep walking wisely while remaining open to possibilities you cannot yet see. And perhaps there is something in your life that needs to be released, not because it was meaningless, but because you have outgrown the version of yourself that once needed it. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because the next revelation will take us into the one thing that may be quietly blocking your peace: the habit of constantly asking for a sign when what you really need is courage to make the next responsible choice. And here is the surprising part: maybe the greatest message from Jesus and Archangel Michael is not, something will happen in 15 seconds. Maybe it is, you still have a choice. You can choose to forgive. You can choose to stop chasing what repeatedly drains you. You can choose to begin again. You can choose to make the call you have been postponing, learn something new, apologize where necessary, or finally take one small step toward the future you keep imagining. Something huge is waiting ahead, and it begins with that first decision. Don't skip now. Stay till the end, because the next part will reveal why the word "chosen" should never become a reason to feel superior or frightened. It can become a reminder to live with purpose, humility, compassion, and courage. The countdown may have started this story, but your choices will determine where the story goes next. My beloved child, Perhaps you have been waiting for heaven to make the next move, while one small decision has been waiting quietly in your own hands. Think about the thing you keep postponing because you are waiting to feel completely ready. Maybe you want certainty before taking action. Maybe you want reassurance before trusting again. Maybe you want proof that everything will work out before you allow yourself to hope. But life rarely gives us that kind of guarantee. Stay till the end, because this is where the message becomes personal. Jesus represents the love that reminds you your worth does not depend on outcomes, while Archangel Michael represents the courage to move forward without needing every answer first. Don't skip. The 15-second urgency was never about losing heaven, it was about interrupting the cycle of hesitation long enough for you to remember that your life is still moving. Now consider the word chosen differently. Being chosen does not mean being better than someone else, and it does not mean every difficult moment will magically disappear. It can simply mean choosing to live intentionally. To choose forgiveness over bitterness, wisdom over impulsive reactions, patience over constant frustration, and faith over hopelessness. Something huge is waiting in that shift because you may have been looking for a spectacular sign when the most meaningful transformation begins with ordinary decisions. If this message reminds you of someone who needs encouragement, carry that encouragement into your real life rather than treating a video as a substitute for your own judgment or faith. And remember, you never have to prove your devotion through a click. Your faith belongs to you. Your relationship with God is deeper than any screen. Stay till the end, because the next revelation will connect this idea to the season of your life that has been testing your patience. And now, my beloved child, imagine standing at the edge of a new chapter while carrying everything that happened in the old one. You may be tempted to bring every disappointment with you. Every rejection. Every unanswered question. Every moment when you felt overlooked. But perhaps the next chapter requires lighter hands. Don't skip, because the next part is where we uncover what you may need to release before you can fully recognize what is ahead. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and it may not arrive as a dramatic event, it may arrive as clarity. The clarity to know what deserves another chance, what deserves a boundary, what deserves forgiveness, and what simply deserves to remain in the past. Jesus represents the love that welcomes you forward, and Archangel Michael represents the courage to take that step. The countdown is over, but your story is not. In fact, the most important part may be beginning now. My beloved child, there is something you have been carrying that may no longer belong in the next chapter of your life. Perhaps it is an old disappointment, a conversation you keep replaying, a relationship you cannot stop analyzing, or the belief that one mistake permanently changed your future. Stay till the end, because this is where the message becomes deeper. Jesus represents the love that does not define you by your worst moment, while Archangel Michael represents the courage to stand back up and choose differently. Don't skip, because you may have been asking God to open a new door while your hands were still tightly holding onto an old one. Something huge is waiting for you in the realization that letting go is not always losing. Sometimes letting go is finally making room. Think about the person you were before everything changed. Maybe you trusted more easily. Maybe you dreamed without calculating every possible disappointment. Maybe you believed that if you worked hard enough, everything would unfold exactly as you imagined. Then something happened, and you became more guarded. That experience may have taught you important lessons, but it does not have to become the permanent identity you carry. You can be wiser without becoming cold. You can be careful without becoming afraid. You can remember what happened without allowing it to control everything that happens next. Stay till the end, because the next revelation is about the difference between protection and limitation. Sometimes you build a wall to protect your heart, and eventually you forget that the same wall can prevent beautiful possibilities from reaching you. And here comes the surprising part: maybe your next breakthrough does not begin when everything outside you changes. Maybe it begins when your response changes. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you begin asking, "What can I learn from it?" Instead of asking, "Why did they leave?" you ask, "What did this relationship teach me?" Instead of asking, "Why has God not answered yet?" you ask, "What can I faithfully do with today?" Don't skip. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting ahead, not an empty promise that every problem will disappear overnight, but a deeper kind of strength that can carry you through whatever comes next. Jesus represents hope without condemnation. Archangel Michael represents courage without arrogance. And perhaps the message you needed was never about 15 seconds at all. Perhaps it was about the next 15 years of your life, and whether you will spend them ruled by yesterday or guided by what you are becoming today. My beloved child, something inside you has been changing quietly, even if you have not noticed it yet. The way you think is different. The things you tolerate are different. The dreams you once chased may no longer feel as important, while new desires are beginning to appear where you least expected them. Don't skip, because this may explain why this season has felt so strange. Sometimes growth does not announce itself with a dramatic moment. Sometimes it begins with a quiet realization: I cannot keep living exactly the way I have been living. Stay till the end, because Jesus represents the love that meets you exactly where you are, while Archangel Michael represents the courage to become who you are capable of becoming. Something huge is waiting ahead, and it begins when you stop demanding that your future look exactly like the picture you once imagined. Think about the prayer you have repeated more than once. Maybe you asked for a specific person, a specific opportunity, a specific outcome, or a specific change. You may have believed that if the answer did not arrive in the exact form you requested, then nothing was happening. But what if life can unfold in ways you cannot predict? What if your deepest need is different from the thing you originally asked for? This does not mean every disappointment has a hidden reason or that every delay is automatically meaningful. It means you can remain open. You can pray, think, learn, seek wise counsel, and make responsible decisions without demanding certainty about tomorrow. Stay till the end. Don't skip, because the next part will reveal why your greatest breakthrough may begin with a decision that looks almost insignificant from the outside. And now imagine choosing one small action today that your future self will be grateful you took. Maybe you finally organize something you have been avoiding. Maybe you start learning the skill you keep talking about. Maybe you repair a relationship where repair is genuinely possible. Maybe you stop chasing someone who repeatedly shows they do not want the same thing. Maybe you simply give yourself one quiet hour without constantly checking what everyone else is doing. Something huge can begin with something small. That is why the message does not need to promise that your entire life will transform overnight. Your next chapter can be built one decision at a time. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because the next part will bring us to the moment when the word "chosen" becomes much more powerful, not because you were selected for an effortless life, but because you are being invited to choose what kind of person you will be when life does not go according to plan. My beloved child, there is a question you may have avoided because you already know the answer. What would your life look like if you stopped waiting for perfect certainty? Perhaps you have been standing at the edge of a decision, hoping for one unmistakable signal before you move. But sometimes clarity does not arrive before action. Sometimes you take one wise step, learn from what happens, and then take the next. Don't skip, because this is where the meaning of "chosen" changes completely. You are not chosen because you are promised an effortless path. You are chosen, in this story, whenever you choose courage over hesitation, kindness over bitterness, and purpose over distraction. Stay till the end, because Jesus represents the love that gives you room to grow, while Archangel Michael represents the courage to keep moving when you cannot see the entire road. Now think about the moment when you almost gave up on something important. Maybe nobody knew how close you were to quitting. You smiled, continued your routine, answered messages, and acted as though everything was fine, while inside you were asking, how much longer can I keep doing this? If that sounds familiar, hear this carefully. Being tired does not mean you have failed. Needing rest does not mean you have lost your purpose. Changing direction does not automatically mean you have abandoned your dream. Sometimes wisdom means pausing. Sometimes courage means continuing. And sometimes the strongest choice is admitting that the path you were forcing is not the path you need anymore. Something huge is waiting in that distinction. Don't skip, because the next revelation is about how to recognize whether you are being guided by genuine purpose or simply by the fear of disappointing other people. And here is the part that may surprise you. Perhaps the biggest change is not coming from outside at all. Perhaps you are becoming less willing to betray your own values just to keep someone else comfortable. You are beginning to understand that saying no can be loving. Walking away can be wise. Starting over can be courageous. Asking for help can be strength. Forgiving can be freeing without requiring you to repeat the same pattern. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting ahead. Jesus, within this narration, represents the love that does not require you to perform for acceptance. Archangel Michael represents the courage to protect what is right and meaningful in your life. And the 15-second countdown from the beginning now has a completely different meaning. Those seconds were never about losing heaven. They were about realizing how quickly a moment passes, and deciding that you will not keep postponing the life you are capable of living. My beloved child, the next revelation begins with something you may have overlooked. The life you keep waiting to begin is already happening. Every ordinary morning, every difficult decision, every conversation, every quiet moment when you choose to keep going is part of the story you once prayed would change. Don't skip, because this is where the message becomes more personal. You may be waiting for a dramatic sign that everything is finally turning around, but perhaps the first sign is the way you are thinking differently now. You are questioning old patterns. You are becoming more selective about what deserves your energy. You are beginning to recognize that peace is not something another person can simply hand you. Stay till the end, because Jesus represents love that remains steady through uncertainty, while Archangel Michael represents the courage to move forward without needing every answer first. Something huge is waiting in the next realization. Think about what you would do if you truly believed that one difficult season does not define your entire future. Would you stop replaying the past? Would you finally pursue something you have postponed? Would you forgive yourself for a mistake you made years ago? Would you stop allowing one person's opinion to determine how you see yourself? Perhaps you would breathe differently. Perhaps you would wake up with less pressure to have everything figured out. And that is the surprising part. Sometimes the breakthrough begins when your inner world becomes strong enough to handle whatever your outer world brings next. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because the next part will reveal why the thing you thought was holding you back may actually be showing you exactly where your strength needs to grow. You are not required to understand the entire journey today. You only need enough courage for the next step. And now, my beloved child, return to the 15-second countdown from the beginning. 15 seconds sounded urgent because every second was presented as though something precious could disappear. But now you understand the deeper lesson. Your life should not be governed by panic. Your faith should not depend on pressure. Your hope should not depend on a dramatic promise. Something huge is waiting when you replace urgency with intention. Jesus, within this narration, represents the reminder that love is not withdrawn because you are imperfect. Archangel Michael represents the reminder that courage can be practiced every day. Don't skip now. Stay till the end, because the next part takes this message into the area you may have been thinking about since the very beginning, the situation you desperately want to change. And when we reach it, you may realize that the answer is not about forcing the future to happen faster. It is about becoming ready to meet it with wisdom when it arrives. My beloved child, bring that one situation to the front of your mind, the one you almost never talk about because explaining it feels exhausting. Maybe it involves someone you love, a decision you have delayed, a dream that seems further away than it once did, or a season where nothing appears to be moving. Don't skip, because this is where the message finally touches the place you have been protecting from everyone else. You may have been asking for one clear answer, but what if the first answer is not about what will happen tomorrow? What if it is about who you are becoming today? Stay till the end, because Jesus represents the love that can meet you in uncertainty, while Archangel Michael represents the courage to face reality without losing hope. Something huge is waiting ahead, but it may begin with one honest sentence: I cannot control everything, but I can control my next wise step. Maybe you have been waiting for someone to change. Waiting for an apology. Waiting for a message. Waiting for recognition. Waiting for an opportunity. Waiting for circumstances to finally become easier. And perhaps the waiting has quietly become the center of your life. You wake up thinking about it. You go to sleep thinking about it. Every small event becomes another possible sign. But don't skip, because there is freedom in recognizing what is actually within your control. You cannot force another person's heart. You cannot control every opportunity. You cannot rewrite yesterday. But you can decide what boundaries you need, what actions are responsible, what habits you will build, and what kind of person you want to be while the future unfolds. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting in that distinction, because when you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you create space for clarity. And here is the revelation: perhaps the chosen one in this story is not someone who receives special treatment from heaven. Perhaps it is simply the person who keeps choosing what is right even when nobody is applauding. The person who chooses patience when impatience would be easier. The person who chooses honesty when pretending would be convenient. The person who chooses forgiveness without abandoning wisdom. The person who chooses to begin again after disappointment. Don't skip now. Stay till the end, because the final part will bring the entire 15-second message together. Jesus and Archangel Michael do not need fear to hold your attention. Your faith does not disappear because you close a screen. Something huge is waiting in the final revelation, and it may be the most important thing you have heard in this entire narration. Your next chapter does not require you to become someone else. It requires you to become more intentional about the person you already have the power to become. My beloved child, the 15 seconds are long gone, yet you are still here. And that is where the deepest revelation begins. Nothing was taken from you because time passed. Jesus did not disappear because you hesitated. Archangel Michael did not turn away because a countdown reached 0. The real message was never about threatening you with loss. It was about reminding you that a moment of attention can become a moment of reflection. Don't skip, because you have reached the place where the title finally reveals its deeper meaning. "You will lose both of us if you skip" was never a literal promise of spiritual abandonment. It was a dramatic invitation to pause and remember something far more important: divine love is not controlled by a button, and your worth is not measured by whether you watch a video to the end. Stay till the end, because what comes next is the message you can carry beyond this screen. Now think about the situation that brought you here. The thing you wanted changed. The person you wanted to understand you. The opportunity you wanted to receive. The answer you wanted immediately. Maybe nothing has transformed yet, and perhaps that disappoints you. But look at what has changed inside the story. You are no longer asking only, when will this happen? You are beginning to ask, who am I becoming while I wait? That question is powerful. Something huge is waiting in it. If you are waiting for reconciliation, become someone who can communicate with honesty and boundaries. If you are waiting for a new opportunity, prepare yourself for it. If you are waiting to rebuild your confidence, start with one small promise you can keep to yourself. If you are waiting for clarity, stop forcing yourself to decide everything at once. Jesus represents love that does not demand perfection, and Archangel Michael represents courage that does not depend on certainty. And now, my beloved child, the final countdown is not 15 seconds, it is this moment. This exact moment when you can decide what you will carry forward and what you will finally leave behind. Don't skip this final thought. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting in the simplest realization. You were never required to earn heaven's love by clicking, watching, or proving yourself. You were invited to remember that faith can coexist with questions, hope can coexist with uncertainty, and courage can coexist with tiredness. The chosen one is not someone who is promised an effortless life. It is a reminder to choose your values again and again, to choose patience, wisdom, compassion, honesty, and purpose. And if you remember nothing else from this story, remember this: your next chapter is not controlled by a 15-second countdown. It is shaped by the choices you make after the countdown ends. Your screen can go dark, but your courage does not have to. Your video can end, but your journey continues. And whatever comes next, meet it with love, wisdom, and a heart that refuses to surrender its hope. My beloved child, you have reached the moment where the urgency disappears and the real message becomes clear. You were never being asked to save yourself in 15 seconds. You were being invited to remember yourself after spending too long doubting yourself. Don't skip, because perhaps this is the sentence your heart needed most: you are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to wake up tomorrow without carrying every disappointment from yesterday. You are allowed to believe that one difficult chapter does not have the authority to define the entire story. In this fictional spiritual narration, Jesus represents unwavering love, while Archangel Michael represents courage, the strength to stand again when life has made you tired. Stay till the end, because there is one final realization that connects every part of this message: the greatest sign may not be something appearing outside you. It may be the moment you finally recognize the strength that has been quietly growing inside you. Think about how many times you have survived moments you once believed would completely overwhelm you. You made it through conversations you never wanted to have. You walked through changes you did not understand. You experienced disappointment and still found reasons to continue. You lost confidence and slowly rebuilt it. You questioned your direction and eventually found another step. Maybe you did not recognize these moments as victories because they were not dramatic enough to celebrate. But they mattered. Something huge is waiting in that perspective. Your life is not only made of the moments when everything goes perfectly. It is also made of every quiet decision to continue, every time you chose kindness, every time you learned from a mistake, every time you refused to let disappointment become your identity. Don't skip. Stay till the end, because this is where chosen becomes something you practice rather than something you simply claim. And now, my beloved child, remember the 15 seconds from the beginning and see them differently. The countdown was never a threat. It was a symbol of how quickly attention moves and how easily fear can make us believe we must act immediately. But you can pause. You can breathe. You can think. You can pray. You can seek wise guidance. You can make a decision based on reality rather than pressure. Jesus does not need manipulation to keep your heart close to love. Archangel Michael does not need fear to teach you courage. Don't skip this final truth: something huge is waiting for you, but it may not be hidden inside a secret message or guaranteed event. It may be waiting inside the next choice you make when nobody is watching. Choose what brings you closer to wisdom. Choose relationships that respect you. Choose goals that align with your values. Choose forgiveness where it is healthy. Choose boundaries where they are necessary. And when tomorrow arrives, do not ask only, "What is going to happen to me?" Ask, "What kind of person will I choose to be when it happens?" That is where your real strength begins.